Okay, so, all right, fantastic. I think it's working. Okay, so let's get started on this piece. So, teaching for tonight. So let's say you're in a room by yourself. What do you think your inner being is doing? Basking, appreciating, enjoying your physicality, maybe feeling intensity of fragrance or vision or sight or sound, focused in your body, feeling good in your body, not wanting you to jump or dance or do something different, not even wanting you to be in a conversation with somebody about anything. In other words, always able to find positive aspects right where you are. That's what your inner being is doing, and that's what you want to do. If you want to be joyful in this moment, and this moment, and this moment. Sometimes you want to go on vacation and you don't have fun leading up to the vacation. And sometimes you're on vacation and you don't have fun because the vacation is passing right before your eyes. And sometimes you're over here doing this, but you wish you were over there doing that. And sometimes you're over there doing that, but you wish you were over there doing that. And it's really a rare one of you who is fully invested and engaged in here and now, allowing the juncture of physical and non-physical. Are you getting the sense of how important that juncture is to us? How much we like it, no matter what you're doing. How much we like flowing with you, no matter what you are doing. And if you could just give in to your understanding that we are flowing with you, then all of the things that you are trying to do or to figure out, to justify, you would feel the way you think you'll feel if you could just hammer all of those things into place. The reason I wanted to do that is I wanted us to kind of focus over the next week on basking and enjoying where you're at now, kind of the appreciate where you're at now on the way to where you're going kind of thought process, and just enjoying being. Often we're so busy doing. We're so busy doing our shoulds, all the things we feel we should be doing, that we don't take time to just be. I'll use when I was sick. Normal Trisha, when she was sick, would still continue to go. Kimmy can vouch for how sick I used to be, and I would still be at work, working at the company we were at, where sometimes I was working 10, 11, 12-hour days, and coming home and being mom, and at that time I ran a coupon blog, and I was doing all that. I never rested. I was so busy, focused outward, what everyone else thought I should be doing, right? So I had the boss who felt I should be working. I had the husband who felt I should be doing mom things and wife things. I had the kids who felt I should be doing mom things. I had the coupon people that felt I should be posting on my blog. I was doing everything for everyone else and never anything for me. My inner being wanted me to stop. My inner being wanted me to take time. Well, basically what happened is my inner being and all the cells within my body got so messed up that I knocked myself out so badly I would end up with walking pneumonia. And that's the thing I did differently this time. I didn't have benefits, so there was no doctor visit. Did I take some cold medicine? Yes. Did I take some allergy medicine? Yes. Did I do sinus rinses with saline? Yes. But the most important thing I did was focus on me. I sat around and watched anything and everything I wanted to, and I didn't feel bad about it. Now, I'm not saying I was 100% perfect, because what happened is I would start to feel like I was getting better, and then the shoulds jumped in. I should get up and do this. I should take care of that. I should get into the office today. And what happened? I'd have a setback, and then I'd be right back where I was and doing the coughing thing. But Kimmy can definitely attest to the fact that I would cough for months on end. So the fact that I only coughed for 2.5 weeks without any antibiotics, without any inhaler, without anything like that, praise the Lord, we have Plexus in our lives to help us with that. But still, I got a respiratory virus in 2015, and I still needed a round of antibiotics and an inhaler to get through that. This time around, I just focused on the things I loved about myself. And I made myself feel good about not doing anything, like just being. And that's what you guys need to remember is so important. Your inner being is telling you, look around, stop. This is exactly what we talk about. It's so everything you guys read in the Bible, everything we learned for the most part in church. And I don't want to say the legalistic religion part of church, but really, truly, when you deep dive into what the scriptures are trying to tell you, it's really just love one another and be present. Those are the two most important things you can remember. And that's what this whole teaching is about today. It's about making sure that no matter what you are doing today, you are appreciating today. Not where you want to be tomorrow, not where you wanted to be next week, not what you didn't do last week, but what is happening now. Now, if you feel that you're off, because we have this is contrast. This is what we learned with the study of Abraham, right? We learned contrast, but contrast is so important for you to evolve, for you to take expansion. You can't expand as a human being if you're not having contrast. So you need to welcome the contrast. I'm not saying like bring it on, but I'm saying recognize it. Call it what it is. Recognize that you are not in alignment. Say to yourself, I recognize right now that I am not in alignment with my inner being. And I deliberately choose to see love in this situation. It is not easy, but the minute you evoke that, the minute you say, I recognize, you have mentioned that, yes, I get it. Here's my choice. You're not saying, oh, I can't believe I know more than this. I've been studying Abraham. I've been studying these personal growth books. I should know better, right? That's what we often do. We beat ourselves up. And in beating yourself up, you are putting more and more distance between you and your inner being and how they see the situation. So if you're upset with your child, if you're upset with your significant other, if you're upset with your coworker, whatever it may be, recognize it. It is your lack of alignment with your inner being. It's not your coworker's problem. It's not your significant other's problem. It's not your kid's problem. When you begin to sit there and think to yourself, whoa, I don't like what's happening here. What are my thoughts? What's happening? Have I evoked something? Am I a mirror reflection? How many times have you guys had a situation in your life where you have decided or predetermined what you thought would happen and then it happened, right? I hate going to visit my in-laws because every time I go visit them, X, Y, and Z. I hate it when I get on the phone with that particular coworker because they just push every button of mine. And what do? They push your buttons, right? That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is focus on get, okay? If you focus on the good things, you will get more good things. But if you focus on the fact that every single time you go to work and see that person, they do X, Y, and Z, then guess what's going to happen? The universe is going to give you reasons to affirm it. That's the biggest thing to think about. Watch what happened at the State of the Union address. I'm going to sit there and I'm not going to talk about whether or not you're this political party or that political party, right? But both political parties believe with their inner being that they are right. And what do? Both of them bang against each other, and neither one of them is getting a darn thing done, right? It doesn't matter which one you're at, right? Because this political party believes this, and this political party believes this, and they are both standing firmly. And all they see, because they're focused, is situations and reasons to affirm that belief. If they feel this about the president, they're going to find reasons to affirm it. But if someone else were to see that from the other party and go, oh, I see that, they find things to affirm what they believe. That's why it's so important to remember. It doesn't matter if somebody believes different from you because their belief is their truth. It's why if you really deep dive into most, I don't want to say religions because I feel like sometimes that gets legalistic, but if you look at the basis of them, Buddhism, Christianity, all of these different belief systems have a truth at the basis of them that believes that everybody deserves love. And then you end up with factions of different ones that do some crazy cockamamie things, right? But the truth is there. And then each faction goes, whoop, now we believe this. And then they affirm everything they believe. That's why cults happen. That's why unique situations and factions of different religions happen. And they go, whoa, that's a weird form of X, right? Even the Church of Scientology. Maybe you don't believe it. It is a little different for most, right? It's not something I believe to be my truth, but the individuals that are in there, guess what? It's their truth. And that's their path. It's not your path, but it doesn't make it a wrong path. It's still a path. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish. It doesn't matter if you're Christian. It doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist. It doesn't matter if you're Islamic. It does not matter. They are all the truth to that person and the path they need. Just like some people take the step to getting out of addiction and they focus on AA or they focus on meditation. Some just find cold turkey, right? It works differently for every single person, but it was their belief in the fact that it would happen and be an effective form for them that made it happen. You hear often the mind over matter. That's exactly what this whole law of attraction is about. Whatever thought you're thinking, you're going to attract another thought in 16 to 17 seconds if you continue to think it. So which thought do you want? Do you want a good thought or do you want a bad thought? Do you want good things to happen to you or you do want negative things to happen to you? I think we kind of all know which one we want, but on that other end of it is still sometimes those old belief patterns, those old vibrational thoughts that bring you right back to the way you were when you were 10 or 12 or 32 or 52 or 82. It really doesn't matter. Certain things will bring you back. The thing that we need to remember is it's okay to have a wobble. It's okay to not feel positive every minute of the day. It's okay to feel a disconnect because your inner being is okay with all of it. God, source, your inner being, everybody knew what you were going to do. Nobody is surprised. You're the only one beating the crap out of yourself because of it. And most of the time, you're beating yourself so badly that you can't even take the next step or see what's right in front of you as the solution. And the minute you recognize it and acknowledge it and say, I recognize that I'm no longer in alignment with my inner being, and at this moment in time, I choose to see love in this situation. You will feel a calming come over you. You won't feel stressed. You might find something really, really small, but you will find it. And then another thought will come and another thought will come. If you didn't get a chance to listen to that video that I posted on the positive aspects and how to do that for somebody really close to you, this was huge for me to hear when I heard it because it reminded me of the individual that I had that worked with me at my last company who's now with me at this current company. And I caught that I have fallen into the same patterns of believing and looking for things that affirmed what happened at the last company. I should know this, right? I should know this. I teach you guys this. I live and breathe it, but we're all human. And I caught it and I heard that. I heard it at the perfect time. And the thing that I recognized and resonated most with me was writing those positive aspects, but making them general. And if they start to feel that they are pushing, that you are going against it, you've got to stay general. And then I remembered, and I had shared with you that I had written some positive aspects about this individual at my previous company. So I found them this morning and I took them with me to work and I read them before I walked in the door. He wasn't at work and immediately I could feel the thought of going back and vibrational kind of happening again. But then I thought to myself, maybe he has a doctor's appointment. Maybe he's not feeling well, right? Much better feeling than to think that anything negative. And my statements about him, you guys, they are so general, but I can tell you that walking in the door, I felt so much calmer because I really felt like this was this cloud that was hanging over my head that I couldn't stop talking about it, right? I kept beating that dang drum. That's what we do. We keep beating the drum of what we don't want. And guess what we do? We activate that. We bring more of it. I don't want this, but I'm going to think about this, and then I'm going to bring it to me anyway. You get what you want, what you think about, whether you want it or not. If you think about it long enough. And if you talk about it, even worse. Right? So if you're frustrated with who you're working with, don't go home and tell your spouse. because now you've just reactivated even more of that coming to you, right? If you're not happy with what's happening in your Plexus business, don't go around telling the whole world about it, because now you're just basically telling the universe, nothing good ever happens to me. I don't ever find customers. No new ambassadors have joined my team. I'm destined to be at this place where I've been. I've dropped down and I'm going to be here forever. Well, if you keep saying that, guess what? What do we talk about? You ask and the genie says, your wish is my command. And you will find reasons to believe it. That's the reason the majority of the people who have left Plexus, because they have built that thought process over and over and over and over again. And the universe kept giving them reasons to believe that Plexus wasn't the right place to be. That's how it worked. And I am amazed at how many people have left who I knew had such amazing stories of how they've just improved their health. And I know we all say, even if I wasn't making a dime, I would always take Plexus forever. But all it takes is a change in belief, a change in process, and a change in commentary that's coming out of your mouth, and the universe will answer you with, well, maybe so, but look at this. And then your brain starts thinking, gosh, why did that person go over there and do that? And then you start finding reasons to believe whatever the reason is that they told you they left. When really, in actuality, it was their own belief system that didn't make it happen. I mean, how many people have we seen leave Plexus to go do another one, to then go do another one? And you're like, what the heck, right? You brought yourself with you wherever you went. It's the same people that do the same patterns with the same significant others over and over again, or the same job over and over again, and it has the same problem. Okay? So that's not me pointing fingers at anybody. That's me reminding myself. So any questions at all on that teaching piece that we did? Kimmy?
Not the teaching piece, but I was supposed to ask this a couple weeks ago. It's the segmenting that I'm not quite sure how to segment.
And I'm not as good at talking about that. And I know you told me that you wanted to talk about that when we talked about that a few weeks ago. And I wrote down some stuff that I wanted to bring up, and I don't have it with me. But can you shoot me a quick message when we're done with this, and I will put something in the group on segmenting to kind of help you guys?
Yes, please.
But the thing to remember with any process is that if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it. So if you start doing a process, and just because Abraham says it's a great process, again, it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
You could be doing Book of Positive Aspects, doing BOPA, and it feels like crap, and you're not feeling any relief. Stop. The whole thing about Abraham is if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Right? If you don't feel good when you're doing it, if it feels stressful, if doing the 30-day thing feels stressful, don't do it. It's okay. Like, nobody's going to beat you up over it, right? But
except for yourself.
Right, except for yourself, which is so true, because, I mean, how many of you have done a challenge? I think almost everybody here has done a challenge, whether it be in, Plexus or work or whatever, and you're super committed the first 2 days, and day 3, life catches you, and then day 4, you're like, oh shit, I'm super far behind, and I might as well not do it anymore. And then you stop doing that thing, or going to that class, or talking to those people, because you're embarrassed. And really, truthfully, none of them gave a crap in the first place because they weren't even paying attention. It's all you. This is the same thing. It's like, you could start and restart your 30 days or not. It's okay. Your inner being will tell you. You might not be inspired to do it. Do not be motivated, right? That's the difference between motivation and inspiration. Motivation is you doing something you feel you should, as opposed to being inspired to do. So if you're not inspired to do the 30-day, that's okay. You might not be there yet. It might be the reason why you haven't been able to make it work. You might not really be inspired. You might feel you're inspired, but it might be really you with a feeling of a should. Well, everybody else that's on the call is doing it, so maybe I should. I better do that because, I don't want to be on the call and then they talk about it and I didn't do it, right? It's okay. But I wanted to talk really quickly on this 30-day reboot. I wanted to make sure you guys understand the importance of the creation box and the importance of visualization. Visualization is very short, okay? It is not daydreaming for hours about your home you want on the beach, and that's not what it is. It's a get in, get out. Get in, get out. Feel good, leave. because you want to feel good about what it is you're looking at. But before you start to think about the fact that it's not there yet, you get out, right? So it's like, okay, what would it feel like to be, I don't know, let's just say be a diamond. What would that feel like? What would it be like to be a day of Celeste? Just use her as an example, since she's our first double diamond and she has that most amazing walk-in closet that I was like salivating over as I was watching. But those are the things where it's like, okay, my visualization, let's just use her as an example because I know most of us know who she is, right? So I can feel myself walking into the closet, looking around and thinking, boy, this is super beautiful. How gorgeous is this? How amazing is it to just have everything at my fingertips? This is so wonderful. But the minute I start to think I have nothing to put in the dang walk-in closet, it's time to back out, right? That's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense to everybody on how important visualization is? Get in, get out, okay? But don't beat yourself up if you start thinking about the fact that it didn't happen. Just recognize it and then walk onto something else and then come back to the visualization at another time if it feels good. The creation box is different than a dream board, okay? That's the one significant point I want to make, because a lot of people kind of try and think that it's a dream board, right? Dream board has all these goals of things you want to have happen in your life, but what happens sometimes when you look at it? Well, that's really far away. How am I going to get there? The creation box is only things that make you feel good. So I'll give you an example, and it doesn't have to be really, really specific, but it can be, I love when random strangers come up and say hello or compliment me. That makes me happy. You guys, my love language is people who tell me I'm pretty and say nice things to me. That is my love language. It makes me super, super happy, okay? So I always say when it happens, I love when that happens. And guess what's been happening lately? It's happening all the time. The other thing I put in is I love how Disneyland looks after it's rained and everything is super, super clean. There's not a lot of people, but it's just beautiful. And the night and the lights just reflect on the little water that's on the ground. It makes me happy. That's the thoughts you want. It's not, okay, I want to be able to be at Disneyland every day of my life. Okay, although I don't think I could do that either, even though I love Disneyland. But things like that, if they become too big and they make you feel like there's a distance between where you are and where you want to be, that doesn't do you any good. That distance is resistance that's going to keep it from happening, right? So for instance, if you're sick, Debbie wasn't feeling well. I wasn't feeling well. Many people here have even caught the flu this season, even though we're all on Plexus and taking our supplements, right? But if you continue, if you say things like, I feel well, my health is amazing, right? These are like hokey dokey affirmations that people say. Your brain's going, no, you don't. You don't feel well. You feel like shit. And you look like crap. You know, I mean, these are the things that happen when you say affirmations that are so specific and so distant from where you are. But if you say something to yourself, I know that my body is improving in its health. I know that I've been sick before and I've gotten healthy very quickly by using my supplements. I know that in the past, when I've been feeling unwell, that if I take care of myself and pay attention to my body, I get healthy very quickly. These are all things that are true statements. Your brain isn't telling you, no, you're not, because they're true. The minute you start to feel that you're stretching, you've gone too far. Does that make sense? So the creation box is going to be things in your life as you go through them that make you happy. Because then when you're not having a good day, you're feeling a little funky, you can pull out your creation box and look at all the wonderful things that really, truly make you happy. Your grandbaby coming up and grabbing your finger. Those are wonderful memories. The memory you have of a long lost friend coming back into your life and the hug you got when you saw them. Those are things you write down and put in your creation box because they're things and memories and joys that you want to create more of. Okay? So that's the key. Visualization, you're going to get in, you're going to get out. Creation box, You're going to put things, and it doesn't have to be a box. You guys, I have sticky notes, and they're on the inside of my planner for work. And I just, as I think about them or things happen, I just write them down on the sticky note and put them there, because it's really easy for me to just open up my planner and look at them if I'm feeling off, right? Something happens in the middle of the day and I'm feeling like things aren't going my way, or I had a bad phone call that didn't go my way, or whatever it may be. I just pull that up and start looking at it again. Okay, does that help everybody a little bit? Okay, I did tell you guys that I wanted to share a little bit about that story with my client. And I wanted to bring it up more so because of the coincidence that happened yesterday that really brought it all full circle for me, that I felt it was really important. We talked about this, you guys, when we read the book, The 5-Second Rule, and we talked about Mel Robbins saying, go with those instincts, right? So we're kind of circling back to a previous book. But you will have instincts to go and do things, and we often talk ourselves out of them. Like, I don't know why I want to go to that store. Why do I need to go to that store? Or why do I want to walk around the block today? Or why did I suddenly end up in the kitchen? Whatever it may be, there's usually reasons behind it. And if you take a moment and say, okay, I had an impulse to go into the closet. Why am I in the closet? Help me here, universe. Why am I here? You'll be amazed that all of a sudden you catch something. You're like, oh my gosh, I was looking for that ring and it was hiding in my shoe and I didn't even know it was there. But what had happened last year? So this client has been my client since 2011. Okay. She and I don't have like an overly close relationship, but we have a friendly one, or at least we did before. So last year, I had placed, back in 2011, I placed an HR director there who left, and it was not a good thing. Like, both of them, the HR director and this client of mine, did not get along when it happened. I mean, it was a bad, like, kind of, she resigned, but it was not pretty. There was like a leave of absence involved, one of those crazy, tumultuous things. But she was still talking with the people who still were back at this company. And so she had told me that this VP's daughter had brain cancer, and it was a really rare form, and that this was the golden child, right? So this was the one that was going to college to be a lawyer, had been ASB president, had a lot of really wonderful, amazing things happening in her life. And so I had been trying to get a hold of Jen and had not been able to reach her. And so I finally just left her a voicemail message at the office and said, I haven't been able to talk to you in a while. I heard through the grapevine that you're going through some horrible things right now, and that your daughter is not well. I just wanted you to know that I'm not calling about business. I just wanted to let you know I'm here if you want to talk. And I didn't feel normal, because that didn't feel like normally what I would say to somebody, but I felt the urge to do it. And then I just let it go. And she called me on my cell phone, because it's on my signature, not because she had it for any other reason. And we ended up talking for 30 minutes. I prayed with her over on the phone, and we chatted about the things that she's going through. And it was kind of one of those things where she just needed somebody who wasn't close to the situation to talk to. That can happen. Didn't think anything of it. We said our goodbyes, all was done. And then I was on the phone with another client, an AP supervisor, and she was telling me about how her daughter had just gone to college and was having this tough time. She's a single mom, just stuff back and forth. And so we were kind of doing this, here's Trish doing counseling again. I just find it fun and didn't want to work. So I guess I just wanted to talk about things that weren't work. But I said to her, I just was having a conversation with another client of mine, and we were talking about how scary it is when your child is not with you and when things happen. And I totally get that. And then she was talking about something else. And then I said, yeah, I said she's dealing with a situation where her daughter actually has cancer. So her being away from home is really scary for her. And she said, and I said, she's a rare form of brain cancer. That's all I had said. Daughter in college, rare form of brain cancer. And she says to me, is it Katie Munson? And I went, yes. And she tells me her daughter and Katie Munson had been best friends in high school, and that her daughter was struggling to go see her because she felt uncomfortable being around her. because now she's bloated and she's got ill, just she's not well, and it brings back mortality thoughts, right? And I said to her, I completely understand that. I said, maybe just have a chat with her and talk with her and say how wonderful Katie would probably feel if you were just to come by and say hello. And I didn't think anything of it. No big deal. So here we are. I'm at lunch with Jen on Friday, and we're chit-chatting, and or on Monday, and she says to me, about some stuff. And I finally just said, I had the most unique situation. I said, you and I talked, and then that same week, I'm talking to another gal who was having challenges as a single mom, and I went through the story. And I said, and then I found out when I was telling her just a piece about what you and I talked about, and all I had said was a rare form of brain cancer, and was in college, and she immediately knew who your daughter was, because apparently her daughter and your daughter were friends. And I didn't know how close the friends are, because you never know, right? So I was kind of like brought that up. And then I said to her, she goes, oh, what was her name? And I said, I don't know her first name, but her mother's last name is Bryant. And she said, oh, Bryant? And I said, yeah. She goes, they were on ASB together in high school. She goes, she came by about a week before Katie passed. And I just was like, how wonderful is that somehow it all worked out that she got to see her. So yesterday when I saw that post and I forwarded it to her, and then she shared with me that they had released butterflies, how would I have ever known that post and butterflies would have a significance? None whatsoever. That's why I'm saying just trust your inner being. They always know where you want to go. They always know the path of least resistance. It's already figured out. You're the one trying to maneuver through the minefields, but your inner being knows exactly that you should zig and go left, and you're trying to go right because you're looking at it going, but that looks like it's clear. It's not your job. Trust, rely, let go and let God, right? It's what it's all about, you guys. Stop trying to be in control of the universe. Get everybody else off the potter's wheel. That's Joel Osteen's thing, but I love it. But it's the same thing. Your job is to be happy, to be joyful, and to love. That's it. And if you're not feeling joyful, if you're not feeling happy, if you're not feeling loving in a situation, it's time to take a moment and think about what it is you're thinking about. And is your inner being thinking the same thing, right? What would Jesus do? I think that's like the perfect situation at hand. Would Jesus condemn that person? No. So why are you? Right? Just because they don't believe the same thing as you do, it's more important to be happy and joyful than it is to be right. So we are a little bit over time, but I have to go make dinner, so I'm going to race off of here. But I want to make sure you guys understand your job for the week is to be joyful and look for loving things. And if you don't feel love, recognize it and ask God in the universe to help you see love in that situation. All righty. And Kimmy, I'll go ahead and put segmenting in there by the latest by tomorrow. Okay. All righty, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Okay. Mwah. Much love.